I'm here with David Rudelhoff of Luxuria Properties. And David, welcome.
Thank you, Vikram.
What we wanted to do today is just get to know a little bit about you and your business.
Sure.
And so tell us a bit about your background and what has your journey been? How did you get here?
Not your average story. I left school with no real education, didn't go to sixth form, didn't go to university, was a bit lost, got into retail, worked very hard in retail for people like Waitrose and so on, even worked at Pets at Home for a period of time. I got a different change of career for a friend of mine who put me into an ultra high net worth family's private office, where I was responsible for security, property maintenance, logistics, and it was a very interesting operation. I did that from 2007 to 2015, and 2015 is when I set up Luxuria Property. Initially formed to cater for the ultra high net worth families and doing bespoke property management and maintenance, and the idea was not to be just managers turning up in suits. We were there to be hands on and do everything that was needed, from changing light bulbs to making sure the complex TV systems were working and dealing with any problems in the house. Since then it's changed dramatically. We now have been trading 3.5 years, now offer a huge range of services. Our largest service is construction now, and we do quite vast refurbishments, extensions, renovation work, all the way from £20 million properties through to an average property, which us mere mortals can afford. We cater for all different clients, but we do specialise in the ultra high net worth markets.
So it's been a bit of a change in the current business in the last 3 or 4 years that you started, and you saw that the market moved, so you moved with the market to capture
with the demand. Yeah, absolutely. Especially we're in the Ascot area, Virginia Water, a very affluent area. I was here obviously acting on behalf of a high net worth client before, and it was incredibly hard to get anything done. I often felt like I was waving a fistful of money around, and it was like nobody wanted to do any business. So trying to find somebody who would turn up on time, who would give you a quotation on time, who would be very transparent with their pricing all the way through to delivery and delivering a good product, was incredibly hard. So that has been like the real kind of ethos of the business all the way through. That's been one of the constants all the way through the business.
Very nice. Very nice. So tell us about some of the successes that you've had on this journey. So,
like I say, we started in 2015. There was two of us. I employed a Polish multi-trader, and there was myself, and I was on the tools
myself. You were on the tools yourself?
We had two vans, so I took a backward step or a sideward step back onto the tools, and things very much picked up. We picked up a few management clients, a few big names who everyone would recognise, but we can't disclose for privacy reasons.
Is there any project which stands out other than others, which is like that golden crown on your estate at the moment?
We did an incredible amount of work last year for a Russian client in Wentworth. We started off by doing some wood flooring in this property, and the next thing you know, 6 months later we've got 22 people on site. We've renovated the whole of the second floor. A major local property developer stroke builder who builds properties and mansions all around the world was kicked off of site, and we were asked to finish a very high profile security building, and that was very special. We did a lot of tri-stone walling. Again, a very important property, but we cannot share any of the images.
It's understandable with the kind of clientele that you've got.
Yeah.
So obviously, in this journey there must have been challenges that would have come your way. So tell us a bit about the kind of challenges which have come and what you have done to overcome them.
Sure, so the biggest challenges as we started gaining momentum was the growth of the business. We've never had an issue with marketing or sales. It's always been to do with keeping up with demand and making sure that we don't drop on delivery on service. So recruiting the right staff on time to keep up with the growth of the business, cash flow, Demands wasn't an issue initially, but as we get to a certain stage, that has certainly had an impact. It's funny how my perception on cash flow has changed so much over the last few years. And yeah, it's just keeping control of the growth and making sure that we don't lose our way.
So tell us a bit more about that when you say keeping control of the growth, and also the other thing which you mentioned, that you've now got a new perspective about cash flow.
Sure.
It's interesting, and I think our audience would love to hear something like that.
Okay, so cash flow first. When I first started, you see a few thousand come in the bank and you're doing one or two jobs. You get paid for that job, and as soon as the invoices come in, I wanted to pay those invoices straight away because I wanted to know that what was in the bank was actually what we'd earned.
Mm-hmm.
And as a very, very small business, it actually worked for us. As you start growing and then you have payment terms and then you have money all over the place, it is just impossible to get a snapshot on a single moment to know exactly where you are.
Messy.
You can only go by, we track everything with spreadsheets, which is not linked to the bank. You have to treat the bank separately and the cash flow separate to performance. So we maximise all of our terms with our suppliers. We've done a lot of work on it together, making sure that we're not paying people until we've been paid. Often, one of the reasons why we've done so well over the last few years is we want people to work for Luxuria. We use a lot of very skilled subcontractors, and we want them to work for us. We want to look after the people we employ and the subcontractors and companies we employ, so we like to pay people straight away. So we have a very good reputation for that, and also for those who know, there's the whole tax with construction as well. We have to stop tax for people, and a lot of property companies, especially traditional builders, are stereotypically bad at administration. So we send out certificates every month just declaring that we've paid their tax for them. That's very important. So very important tip is just making sure you're looking after the people who are working for you.
Okay.
And in regards to the growth and managing the growth, I did all the administration. I was everything. I was director of finance, director of marketing, project manager. I did absolutely everything at the beginning, and then after 2 years I employed a lady to help me in the office, and she started helping me, so it was starting to delegate. And then it's knowing when, and now we have 2 ladies in the office, now we have a project manager, we have a property manager as well, so it's knowing when to delegate, knowing what to let go, just so that you can keep all the balls in the air. I was always told, and until you're absolutely busting at the seams, and I don't know whether that's necessarily true or not, and you've often told me, as we grow, is planning for the next year, so it's been very tough keeping on top of that, because it always feels like there's a lot of balls up in the air, and at times, it really is hard keeping them there. So you've just got to make sure you've got the infrastructure in place, solid foundations, you've got the right insurance, you've got the right fleet, you've sourced out all your materials are coming from the right place, you're using the right software, you've got the right processes, that the business can run without you. And that as time progresses, I'm trying to detach myself more and more from working for the business, and that my role is merely working on the business.
Very nice. Okay. So what advice would you like to give someone who is starting up in this kind of business?
My advice would be do a lot of networking initially, especially when you're at the beginning of your journey. I remember right at the beginning, I started the business from home, and I felt like something was going wrong. I had a lot of spare time. A good friend of mine told me, the times when you're quiet, that's business development time, especially when you're doing everything. Because at the beginning, you haven't got the luxury of working on your business all the time. Yeah. When you're quiet, business development, networking, knock on doors. When we were really quiet, and this is where the business turned a corner, I literally put my suit on and I made up some flyers at home on my own printer, and I went around all the estate agents in the area. And out of maybe 15 doors I knocked on, we got 1 customer, and within a month we became the main supplier.
Very nice.
And that one lead made the company in the first year. So you just have to get out there, you have to do it. I've mentioned about looking after people. You've got to look after people. You see these things going around the internet about Richard Branson looking after his employees, and it really is true. You've got to look after the people working for you.
Because when you take care of your employees, they take care of your customers.
They take care of your customers, exactly right. That's the saying. And I've worked for some incredibly wealthy people, and they've not looked after their employees, and they've not looked after myself and other people. I pride myself in being a small business owner, but we can do better than that.
Having now run the business for 3 or 4 years now, how do you feel as a business owner?
That's a very good question. If you was to take a snapshot and think about what's been achieved and think about my position and the position of the business, everyone from the outside would think, oh, I should be jumping around with joy, but there's always a challenge, there's always an evolution, and you can't take your eye off the prize. I'm still as focused now as I was on day one, and you have to be that way, and you do have to celebrate successes, and I don't do that enough, but it's always the next challenge. But I like the challenge, and I like the fact that it's for, we're growing a company. I'm very proud of it. It's my baby, and the other people involved in the business, it's their baby too. I want them to buy into that, and I like the fact we can do good.
Very nice. So, which actually leads very nicely to my next question, which is, what is the next big thing for the company and for yourself?
Okay, so we've had a very big meeting last week with a local architecture practice, which are in the top 100 architect practices in the world.
Nice. In the world, very nice.
In the world, and we also have got a very good relationship with an interior design company who are also in that category. Both of the owners are personal friends of mine, and we are looking to start building houses next year. Is the next step for Luxuria. So we're going to start at probably going to start at the £2 to £3 million mark from a single build, and then we're going to progress and grow that business model up to the big stuff that you see in the area.
Very nice. So is there anything else you would like to tell us about? Any nuggets you would like our audience to take away? Something?
Absolutely. One thing I haven't mentioned is we also do garden maintenance, and I always forget to mention that's a small part of the business which is growing. And one of the most prestigious projects we're doing this year is a big landscaping project, and the client is a very special project in Englefield Green, and we granted permission to share the images and the videos. So if everyone was to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, you'll see videos and tours of the progress and the week 2, week 3, and so on and so on. And we're nearing the end of the project, and we've got a lot of people following that story. We've also got some small extensions which the client's been happy for us to share on there. So please get on board with that, guys. We really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you've got. I saw something the other day. It's all about what you put into anything in life. You see all these successful people. It doesn't matter whether they're a musician or an artist or a businessman, a sportsman. All these people achieve great things. And I'm not saying I've achieved great things, but I'm doing my best. You've got to put the work in. And you've got to look after people, and you've got to be compassionate, and you just got to work really hard at what you want to achieve. Keep your eye on the prize every 90 days, and review your previous 90 days. See people like Vikram, he's a great coach, and review your successes, review your sort of development areas, and plan the next 90 days. Once you get some momentum going, set a goal for a year. Things like vision boards help me, and we've actually just planned for the next 5 years, which seems really scary. When I look at what's ahead of us in 5 years' time, it blows my mind. So you need to plan, give yourself a target.
Very nice. Thank you so much, David. So for you guys, there are just 2 or 3 things which I just wanted to bring out in a nutshell. One is planning is very important. And growing with a structure in mind to make sure that the growth is sustained and it's not all over the place is the second thing which David mentioned. The third is about having an eye on cash flow. And the fourth thing is about making sure that your team is with you and you're taking care of your people. I think these are some great tips that David people will take from today's video. But thank you for coming, and
thank you.
Great to have you.